One big joke. It's a fucked up world. Here we are in. I ain't going nowhere.
I'm here with my co-host, Cardiac, who, oh God, we never remember to change our names, do we? This thing is a blight on us.
You guys can just call me Cardiac. I'll try to make that part not change. The rebranding process is not taking it. You know what? I'm not taking any blame for this. This is Zoom's problem.
Hence
It should not be that hard.
Hence my name change.
I'm speaking as a software engineer. It should not be that hard at all. It should. No,
it shouldn't. It should save it as the last. It's funny. If I change my background picture, it stays at the last thing that I put it at. I can't just do it and save. I swear.
We're gonna get
being difficult.
Somebody from Zoom is gonna come at me. It's not gonna be fun. You're gonna draw like a mustache on all my chats now. But anyway, this is an awkward start, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are we going to continue with this?
Oh, I was just thinking about doing something. Continue, sir. How are you doing? Well, I try to see if I can do see if I can do some dickish shit right about now.
Ironic? It's not ironic, but it's actually been a pretty tiring week, which you can kind of tell from the energy level given off here. But otherwise, I don't know, positive. I don't know what I'm positive about, but I feel positive. Maybe just positive about the way vaccine rollout seems to be going. Try to build up the energy to watch the second coming is what I'll call it.
Yeah, I was supposed to watch that tonight, but I couldn't because I worked late and then had to record. And I was like, there are more important things than making me want to gouge my eyes out. So I did that. Instead, I'll gouge your ears out by ranting and raving over the thing.
You guys get all the hate.
I mean, plenty of hate to share. I already shared some on Twitter with a particular fan base. Got them riled up.
All Black does is just get online and cause problems.
I really don't. I'm very.
He just gets on.
I am very inspirational. I am very inspirational. I don't shit on people's face. I just say. I just give an honest account and let people yell at me because they don't think it's true. It's like I'm like Darth Vader when he tells Luke that he's his father. If they gonna scream it's not true and it's impossible, I mean, I'm just telling you what it is. Gee.
I don't want to get down the Star Wars rabbit hole, so I'm going to leave that alone.
Which, by the way, Last Jedi still is the best of the recent trilogy.
Jesus.
So let's just,
Okay.
Yes. I have to do it, Anyway. Pretty light show because it's late, and actually life is a bit more normal, even though the press tries its best not to let it be normal.
Sure.
Since Joe Biden has become president. By the way, we almost lost Joe, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't believe me, look it up. There's a video clip of Joe Biden falling several times while trying to run up the stairs to Air Force One. But he plays it off smooth.
God bless him, because if I've tripped even once, I would take really slow, deliberate steps. He just started trying to bolt up again. I'm like, this is why you falling, bro. Slow down, relax.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of disappointed in him because he could have gotten the good theater. Like he could have played it and just do the Peter Griffin thing. Just as an added effect.
Oh, the theme.
That would have been hilarious. But, his pride, because everybody always fuck with Joe about his age. This man's old and shit. Blah, 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 blah. He's probably like, fuck that. I'm still going to go.
I wouldn't hit him. Like, I fall downstairs my entire life, man. It's going to keep happening.
The only problem is that now we're going to have to fight. Well, see, you guys talked about Trump when he fell and slipped. Now what? Joe slipped on the stairs too.
And then I made fun of him.
I made fun of him too.
It was fun.
Look, if anybody knows me, I'm an equal opportunity asshole. Come on.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It doesn't matter who tragedy befall. I mean, well, some people deserve tragedy more than others, but it's funny either way.
Let's reframe this. There's certain things that you can fucking make fun of in life, especially when you know that it's not something super serious. Like this, he tripped and fell. Everybody laughs. You trip and fall in front of your friends, they're going to bust out laughing once they see that you're okay. Now, if you trip and fall and like your fucking bone comes out of your shin, ain't nobody laughing.
True. I mean, if they do, like, you need to remember the motherfucker because they need to be on a list or something.
Exactly. But
we call it red flag.
Exactly. So yeah, come on, guys. And he was fine. He got up, he fell, he got up, he fell, got up, kind of fell again, finished running up. And I loved like he just got to the top and he just turned around like like thank you. I know I'm going to be on the internet as a meme. It's fine.
It was a metaphor. No matter how many times you fall, you get back up again.
There you go.
He was inspiring the youth.
Exactly. Like, see, my old ass still gets up and run after a fall. You get off your lazy fat asses. Stop crying. God damn it. That was his message. But okay.
Either that or he was getting us to come together to laugh. He was being the target to laugh at so that America could finally come together.
Side note, did you see we mentioned how the media likes to fuck with shit. This is a good example. Did you see the hoopla over the video of Joe talking to the press outside of the White House that people were making?
Nope. I thought you were going to mention the dog thing.
Oh no, that's a whole nother fucking stupid thing that we won't even visit. But so there's a video of Joe Biden walking outside of the White House up to some press, and he's having a conversation with them. People are like, oh my God, that's fake. Remember when they said that the Trump one was fake? Because apparently, I don't recall this. This shows how much I try to avoid the pettiness of the media. But there was a video where Trump made where he claimed he was talking to the press, but it was actually a fake video of him talking. Like he had a green screen behind him. He actually wasn't outside talking to the press.
That really happened?
Yeah. So people were like, oh, I don't know. I said again, I wasn't really look, I didn't like the motherfucker, but I wasn't even that petty when it came to it. Geez.
It doesn't even make me mad. It's just a weird thing to do.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying I don't dive into that level of pettiness, but people were saying how Joe was faking and all that. And apparently it's actually not a fake video. He actually was outside the White House talking to the press. But it made a whole brouhaha because people were like, is this real or not? Like they've talked about Trump faking shit and blah, blah, blah. See, and then they were like, yeah, it's real. And
I mean, I guess we all kind of knew this was going to happen, right? People have gotten used to the performing circus, I guess, and now they're bored. They need something.
Yeah, just again, last side note, and then we'll go to the actual topic. The article I sent you about the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Marcia Fudge, where Washington Post reported that she may have broken the Hatch Act. The Hatch Act being you can't be involved as a government official in promoting or like someone running for office. Like that's a violation. You can't help anybody gain office with your position, basically. But here's the thing. She was asked about a Senate race in the state where she was a U.S. representative of. And when answering, she responded like, you know, basically, I can't comment on like, you know, supporting him or anything like that. But I do think that that the Democrats have an opportunity to pick up a seat in that race.
That is a whole new level of boredom. Like you're reaching.
So now they're supposedly saying that they're going to have to investigate, or they think there probably should be an investigation to see if she violated the Hatch Act. Like, because of course we know Trump violated the Hatch Act like shit. Like he literally did tell people, go vote for this person, go vote for that person. I like endorse this person. Like, and others in the Senate did the same, in the Congress did the same. But like, I don't know, guys. I feel like you're dealing with smarter people here.
Smart. Who's the smart people here, though? Like, is it the media?
No, I'm talking about the people in the Biden administration.
Right.
It ain't the media. The media is, no, let's be very clear.
There's certain things that I don't think should even be an article that someone writes.
No, because let's be clear. The media has been turning to shit for a while now. And we've always said that shit. We've said it during the Trump thing. Like the fact that they like to glom on these things. Like it's one thing to mention certain things that he does. But at some point it gets like, yo, who cares that he says that? I don't care. Like, ultimately, I didn't care as much about the Stormy Daniels thing than I did about him fucking, you know, wanting to use taxpayers' money to build a wall to keep people out because racism. You know, or, you know, seeing him cut certain aspects of the Affordable Care Act just out of spite and shit like that. Like, I cared more about that stuff than the fact that, you know, he was just saying smart shit and dumb shit to people.
Yeah, the sex things took a lot of attention. I mean, one of them should have, because there was concern that he, I guess, paid her off for political reasons.
Yeah.
So that was a legal concern for the leader of the country. But other than that, yeah, there's things that he would do that are just not relevant. They're stupid. But I think for a lot of those outlets, it's about creating as much content as possible. Because I'll see like article headlines. I'm like, are you being paid to write this? Are you proud to write this? And I know, you know, you get into a job, you don't always get to choose what you're writing about. But like, fuck, I'd be real pissed if I had to write some of these articles.
Yeah.
And before we hop off that topic, please stop putting words like slammed and epic and shit like that in headlines. Fucking Christ. Sound like you're an adult who writes, not some teenager trying.
Sir, I'm sorry, but epic, monumental, huge, exclusive.
It's just the teenage sounding drama of all of it. Like,
no, but those words work because look at YouTube. They trend. Look at fucking Twitter. They trend. They're doing it because they want it to trend. And yes, it is because what pops up the fucking children. And I mean that literally, like across the board. I'm not talking about people who are just actually under the legal age of adulthood. I'm talking about people over the legal age of adulthood who are fucking children who respond to that shit. Like,
clear. Not saying your papers, articles, I guess, have to sound like dry and super technical and a bunch of big words, but have a standard. Come on. Jesus Christ.
No. Why do I need standards? What? Standards? The standard is to sell. It's the trend. That's why you hashtag epic story. Got to move them.
I like to think I'm reading something from a professional here who's taking the job seriously. That's my own fault, I guess. And they're not just like, I think I mentioned this to you when you sent me something that was from like CNN. So it's not just like these random internet outlets. I'm being serious. It's like fucking all over. And that's all I'll say about it. And I'll leave it alone now because I know this wasn't one of the topics we wanted to talk about, but fuck.
Well, sir, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to make the title to this episode the epically exclusive, exciting news that is this monumental podcast. That's the
title. Yeah, when I said all Black does is get on the internet and cause trouble, that was somehow a lie.
Oh man, I swear. By the way, the reason I started typing was because I just realized I need to cancel my WWE network account.
That is a good reminder.
Because I just realized today's the 20th and they just moved it over to Peacock. And I have Peacock for free, so bam. Fuck you, Vince. You ain't getting the extra $10 from me, you son of a bitch.
Oh, God.
So I just put myself on the WWE website, so when we're done recording, I can just go click, click. Fuck you.
I'll use you as a reminder for that because I'll need.
Oh no, I will definitely remind you.
Remember my password and shit.
Yeah. Although it's gonna probably be somebody who's gonna be mad at me because they use my shit more than I do.
I mean, it's going to go down anyway, so it's not like.
No, as of now, they haven't started a actual transfer, so you're still gonna get charged.
Right, but I mean, if somebody's using your account to watch it, like that, the shit they're watching is not going to be there soon, regardless of whether you turn off your subscription. So, like,
yeah, no, because it is now under Peacock. Every live pay-per-view, the WWE originals, all their back content, all that shit.
To be clear, that's not all going to. If anybody actually has that shit, that's not all going to be available immediately.
No, the pay-per-views will be though.
Yeah, the estimate I've heard is like August or some shit.
It is. I mean, let's be honest. How many people of us really have subscribed to it for the back content or for the exclusive? So, like, how many times have you watched Table for Three?
I used to watch it all the time, actually.
Really?
I watched that Camp WWE.
You watched Along, whatever it was called. Yeah, I was going to say, did you watch the Road Show? Yeah, Ride Along.
Some of the, at least when somebody I was interested in was on. Some of that shit was not. Some of that shit was better than the actual shows. I'll put it that way. Watching a couple of legends have a conversation is a little more fun.
I'm good.
I'm shutting up to stop going on segue.
Yeah. Anyway, well, it's a short show anyway, so we're not going to be rambling on as long as we normally do. It'll just be 2 hours instead of 4. Oops, sort of like some movies should be. Anyway, God, I need to stop. So, speaking of unnecessary things, Mitch McConnell has come out with all the bluster and might that he could, gather under his tortoise shell and has released it upon the world with a threat that if the Democrats are insistent on getting rid of the filibuster, that the Republicans will do everything in their power to make sure that pretty much nothing gets done. So business as usual, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it was such a weird threat. What would be the difference between you? I can't even speak on that. You're threatening to scorch the earth that you've already been scorching for like a decade. Threatening to, grind the Senate to a halt when you've been grinding the Senate to a halt with the filibuster for like a decade. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like everything that we've seen, and I'm not even going to say, we can't even say the last 4 years, can't even say the last 12 years. Take that shit back to the Clintons. They have done everything they can in pretty much the last 20 years to build a wall of fucking opposition. Like, they do not care to actually do any legislation for real. And the only legislation they care about is giving out money to companies, really, when you think about it. That's the only thing that they seem to move fast on.
What's it called? I think it's called Pod Save America. It's a good podcast if you guys want to check that out. Run by a couple of people who were, I believe, in Obama's administration. And they mentioned McConnell, I think today even, and they were like, the thing about Mitch is like he doesn't even really pass that much legislation anyway. So it's like, he just kind of really pushes hard on pushing judges through the system that he wants to be there. And like he said, a couple of money things, that's about it. Like he doesn't really push hard to pass any laws or anything in particular.
Yeah, no. And the laws that they do try to push through, which is part of the reason why he wants the judges, are things to obstruct things like abortion, voting restrictions, stuff like that. So it's not like his whole intention is to do something like just going back recently, mentioning ACA. They ripped out a couple of things through executive orders from Trump for ACA, and he backed it, backing Trump's promise that, look, we're going to come up with a better system anyway. This is why we need to get rid of ACA, because we have a better plan for you. They only once did they introduce something like, and it wasn't even significant, that was supposed to change the way that our healthcare, and that was supposed to replace ACA. And their own party voted against it. So it never passed.
I think I mentioned a few podcasts back that one of the advantages they have is they're not actually trying to do any work, right? So it's easy for them to obstruct, and everybody's just like, oh, Democrats should do that back to them. Over what? Like, what are they really trying to pass and do? It's like, it's one thing to, to like hit a guy in the leg when he's trying to run and win a race, but like, what's the point of hitting a guy in the leg that's just sitting on the couch and bitching? Like, there isn't easy leverage there in that sense. They're just kind of detached from goals that you could either help them achieve or stop them from achieving, and they're kind of detached from even popularity, like winning over their constituents with values and shit. Because, and for example, opposing Biden's recovery plan, most people in the country want that plan. Like, it's been a really tough year or so.
Yeah, it was like
recovery
over
is needed.
% of the Republican Party, like in polls, were for it.
And yet not one in the Senate. I think you said 2 in the House. Like, they're able to pull off moves like that because they don't give a shit.
And
they're not attached
and to use your sit on the couch and complain thing, they're also the people who take credit sitting on the couch too. Because what happened when that shit passed? We just passed a monumental bill that gave all of you guys child tax credits and shit like that. Fucking Ron Johnson and shit with his bullshit. Yeah, like we just helped American children and shit like that. Bitch, no, you didn't. You voted against it. You ain't helped shit.
That's why I get a little frustrated sometimes when people talk about like, oh, they're going to pay for that in the poll or in the voting booths whenever the next cycle comes around. I'm like, the consequences for fucking up in politics are not as straightforward as like other jobs. They can get away with things like that because either people don't care enough to vote or they just have too short a memory to remember.
It's so weird because for the consequences that cost you aren't not doing your job, but it's actually doing your job, because every time Democrats get slammed when they do things like that people generally say they want, but when the Republicans say, oh, see, they just want to do what they want and they're not thinking about what you want as a Republican, and people go, you know, they're right. They're really not. Oh, by the way, can I get like $1,400 bills for this check that the Democrats only voted for me? Yeah, they're really trying to fuck up my life. So fucking stupid.
Yeah, a lot of the opposition seems to me like mostly cultural and theoretical. Like they're not really, they're not things that really fucking matter in real, like the Dr. Seuss stuff. Right. Dr. Seuss or the Mr. Potato, stuff like that are not even political issues that politicians did not have anything to do with in the first place.
But it's like they have this really weird warped sense of reality. It reminds me of a comment that somebody made about COVID, where they're like, you ever realize how they never believe in COVID and COVID's a myth and all that until someone asks them to wear a mask? And then you get situations like you had the other week where you heard about the two girls who just got arrested for coughing on an Uber driver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he asked them to wear a mask because that was protocol. You don't believe that this thing is real, but you're willing to do something to try to give it to someone because you don't want to wear a mask to stop from giving it to them. Makes sense to me.
I mean, yeah, even if you remember Trump's back and forth on that, or even put Trump aside, like the idea that
no, but speaking of him, just really quick, did you see that he put out a statement this week telling people, yeah, you should get the vaccination. It worked. It's good for you.
No, I didn't see that.
Like, it was about a day or two after that whole. This is why it's so funny, because it was a day or two after the article came out that all the former presidents except for him were going to be a part of a campaign promoting people getting the vaccination. It came right after that shit was announced. He decided to get out and publicly endorse the fucking vaccine.
I remember hearing that apparently he'd been vaccinated some time ago, just not telling us or anything. And I'm like,
yeah.
But what I was going to say is, like, I remember, especially early on, people saying that, one, it's not real, but also it is real. And it's like the government giving it to you, like making it a conspiracy theory. So it's like, okay, so they're infecting you with a not real virus. Yes. Make that make sense. And then, of course, I started to morph into, 5G and they're chipping you and all that shit. But like, that was a particular strain of the conspiracy, that it wasn't real, but also it is real. And either the government as a whole, or at least Democrats, are infecting you with this imaginary virus. Like, conspiracies are fun. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about McConnell's threats. Here's the thing too. Like, when you've already been an asshole, threatening to be an asshole is irrelevant. Like, it's no longer a threat. It's just you saying you're going to continue doing what you have always kind of done. If I punch you every day and then I threaten to punch you another day, it's like, okay, so what's the fucking difference?
Yeah, it's wild. It's fucking wild. So yeah, to that I say, fuck him. Fuck all of his threats and shit like that. And yeah, he can go to hell. He can go to hell.
I don't think anybody politically should take it seriously and change their tact over it at all. I think they should just keep pushing through. Fuck the filibuster. Just keep, as people have been saying, I think the best way to maintain the power is to do good shit that people notice. Because he was laying out his threats and talking about all the things that they would pass and all that stuff. And I'm like, that's not that popular. Like, there's definitely people, culturally who want some of that stuff. I think he was talking about, I wish I could remember the nature of the threats. Some of them were like religious or something, but they're not so popular that the American public is just to be like, yeah, give us all this shit, and you're not going to get any shit for that. Like, if you actually passed a lot of that, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah, no, you're not going to, because it'll end up flip-flopping, but it's going to end up causing, if at worst, it's just going to end up causing the flip-flopping process, like it kind of is right now. You get rid of the filibuster, okay, cool. They come in next year and somehow, some way, win the Senate and the House back, and they decide, like, we're just going to ram all this shit to fuck you up. 2 years later, you're probably going to get people screaming and moaning about how fucked up they made the country, and you're going to have another blue wave come through, and it goes back. So it's like, so what, you're trying to create the seesaw? Is that what you want to do? And I don't think it's going to work anymore, because you're starting to see more and more states become more progressive as time goes. I mean, Texas is becoming progressive. Think about that.
Even on top of that, the difference too is it's easy, for people to kind of ignore you when you're just kind of obstructing new things from happening, because those new things don't exist, right? So like, if people already aren't used to getting a certain thing, they're not going to miss it per se. But if you start like rolling back things we've been working on, that's going to be a different thing. It's going to be much more noticeable. So yeah, I don't think that would be even politically smart to do it, even if you could.
No.
So you can go ahead and threaten to scorch the earth if you want, kiddo. I'd say it's pretty scorched now, and we're just now trying to make it unscorched. Plus, he's a turtle, man. Turtles are just not intimidating.
But they last forever, like Mitch. That's why he's a turtle. Like Mitch, they last forever. And no matter how slow and like harmless they seem, they just fucking never go away. They're always there. Like, why can't he be a cool turtle like Michelangelo and Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael? Like, nah. He got to be the dick turtle. It has to be the dick turtle from that old school Tootsie Roll Pop commercial that ate the fucking kids' lollipop and shit. That's him.
Those animals were fucked up. Like, kiddos were like, how many licks does it take to get to the center? 1, 2, fuck you.
Right. Okay. Like, oh, wow. You just use your strong, like,
you literally took candy from a child.
Right. You fucking bastard. It's the Mitch McConnell brand, though, because he will do that shit. I really think that he would slap the shit out of a baby if he could on TV.
Deadass, I could see it. Like, even before you said that, I was like, yeah, I could see Mitch literally reaching into a crib or stroller or whatever and stealing candy from a baby. Like,
yeah.
It's not a hard sell.
No. Not at all. Not at all. It's a fucking asshole. God damn it. All right. Moving on to other assholes, because there's always plenty of assholes in the world. Candance Owens decides to make some news by coming out and speaking out against Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion. A weird, rare pop culture moment on the show. So the Grammys just happened this past week, and there was a performance by Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B for their hit song WAP. If you don't know what WAP means, look it up. I'm not going to tell you. because I want you to do your own research and be surprised. But it's funny because you, sir, sent me the video of the performance, the clip of the performance, where they're basically, doing some, let's say, erotic shit. I guess. Would you call that erotic? I don't know. I wouldn't even call that erotic.
It was visually interesting. I don't know what to say about it outside of that.
I've seen that, and I've seen actually more.
I think when I sent it to you, I was like, it kind of looks like a wrestling transition, except it didn't turn into it. I made some stupid joke about it. That's all.
You can probably call that kind of wrestling in a way. Some people refer to it as such.
But yes, I didn't even know where it was from. Actually, you saying it's from the Grammys, like, oh, that makes sense because I never watch award shows.
Yeah, me neither. And Candance Owens was not too happy about that because she felt like they were being detrimental to women all over America by doing these like erotic things and just horrible examples that they're setting. They should be ashamed of themselves. To which Cardi B, who has no problem barking at political figures, decided to go in on Candance Owens, and what ensued was a Twitter fight, which apparently now is leading to Candance Owens suing Cardi B because during the fight, and it's funny because this is why it makes her lawsuit to me kind of weird, because in the whole jousting bout, and Candance Owens made a comment basically saying, well, gee, of course someone like you would feel that way, especially since you're someone who seems to want to keep a man who's willing to cheat on you or something like that. He basically brought up the fact that Cardi B's husband, is it Offset? I forget which one of those clowns she's married. Offset, I think, is the one she's married to, from Migos, has had a history of cheating on her. And she mentioned, like, my husband doesn't do that. So Cardi B fired back with a picture of an old tweet from years ago that apparently mentioned that Candance Owens' husband had cheated on her with her brother, which, it got a lot of likes, it got a lot of views, and it incensed Candance Owens, and to say that, well, you just now got yourself a lawsuit for like slandering me or something on the internet. So
first of all, and I've said this a couple of times, I've noticed it, people need to stop acting like children on the internet. It's pathetic. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It's pathetic. And I'm saying that for both of them. Like, I think it's dumb on both sides of that. As far as, being damaging to women or whatever, it feels hypocritical, right? Because you come out here and you're talking shit about other people's like husbands. Like, this is the idea that her worth is based on how shitty or not her husband is already kind of sexist to begin with. Like, that's not very championing of women of you. So let's calm the fuck down on that. that whole conversation already started off in a stupid way as far as the progression of women goes. So no. And one more thing, just in this country, the idea of just like suing motherfuckers over every little thing, whenever you can, it's ridiculous. Like you both came out like, children. Move on with your lives, bro.
No. I mean, what is life if you don't banter back and forth in such a way? I don't know. It's dumb. It should have happened, But it happens all the time. And it happens so much between fucking celebrities, which is the thing that's really the funniest to me. Like, y'all are like rich motherfuckers who have time-consuming jobs, at least I would think. Or I guess not, because celebrities we spend a lot of time on Twitter and shit. I think like
I see celebrities responding to like either regular ass people or what might even just be bots, and I'm like, aren't you better than this? Really? Like this person with like 2 followers that probably isn't even an actual human. Aren't you better than this?
But Candance Owens needs the attention. Her brand's taking kind of a hit with Trump being gone now, so she needs kind of a firebrand.
And I mean, that's part of it too, right? Like, just some of these people have like a monetary interest or just interest in general in trying to go at every little thing that happens in life. And I think we talked about Piers Morgan last time. It's like, bro, what is this obsession for other than just to give you something to talk about? Like,
yeah. Although I will say on the Piers Morgan thing, apparently it's kind of came out that apparently he tried to get a date with her and she turned him down, and people feel like that may be the inspiration for his big hate on her, is that she said no to him.
Well, screw women for that. The fuck? It's weird. But yeah, I mean, it works too, right? Like on the news, you'll hear about whatever the fuck Candance Owens is saying, or Ben Shapiro is saying, or Piers Morgan. Like they're all. How should I put this? We talk about a lot about them calling everybody snowflakes. It's like you're the ones kind of fucking reacting to every little thing that happens and cry. Wah, they took Dr. Zeus away. Wah, the potato doesn't have genitalia once anymore. Like, you're the ones constantly bitching. I don't want to hear that it's because, well, we're bitching because they're shitting on our culture and all this shit. And like, the liberals are in charge of everything. Like, no, it's sad and it's pathetic.
It's very, very sad.
Most of the things you guys want to focus on are not of substance in the first place. Like, personally, I don't really listen to much of Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion. And that's not me shitting on them because, and I think we were talking about this the other day, I'll give them credit. They're at least not mumble rappers. Like, they are lyrically sound.
Yeah.
I just don't think much about their music, but like them being sexy or whatever on stage doesn't matter to me. The fact that they have fans that like that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I if that shit offends you, you probably shouldn't be watching it anyway.
Probably if it bothered me. Or I guess, if she was here talking to us, she'd probably respond that it's a matter of, eating away at the American fabric. It's bad for women and girls across the country. It's like, is it? Women and girls should be able to do whatever the fuck they want. Like, if they want to be able to get sexy and dance on stage, well, it's called freedom. They should be able to do that. And without, fear of any sort of harm or harassment coming to them. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it's particularly detrimental to anything unless we let it be, which would be a separate issue.
Yeah. It's just weird. Hey, Candance Owens is just an attention whore, and I hate that we share the same last name. I swear to God.
I mean,
No, because I'm not related to her. And even if I were, I'm not related to her. She's been like removed from the blood. If we are related.
I was gonna say you share the same last name with like a wrestler, that I was like, I guess that was their first name. Like, I mixed up like Kevin Owens and Owen Hart. I was gonna say Owen Hart and I got fucked up. So my attempt to salvage that didn't work at all. I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's many other great Owens in the world.
Yeah, Jesse Owens. I would claim relation.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, not
it
her.
Worked.
Ugh.
Yeah, grow up. I'm not just them. I'm just every few days I'll see like some celebrities on Twitter. Like since I'm already in the wrestling bubble, like if you guys watch wrestling, you might have seen that shit between Jim Cornette and like a couple of the AEW guys. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, grow up. You are adults.
I forgot to mention because he didn't really say anything online, but he did say something on this podcast. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, he mentioned that he was gonna like say some shit on his next drive-through or whatever he calls this thing.
He did.
I was like, you know what? Fuck it. At that point, it is entertainment and you're doing your show and people expect you to respond. That doesn't bug me, but like the whole Twitter battle leading up to it, I was like, just.
But it really wasn't a Twitter battle. It was really Miro, like doing the Twitter like thing and people co-signing.
Other people started to hop on, like the other two,
right? Exactly.
Some shit, and then he said some line about like dicks at a porcupine or something. It's like it's just stop.
Because as Cornette said on the podcast, I know we're going off on a weird tangent here, people. Sorry, but as Cornette said on his podcast, he was like, he like got a call from his co-host while he was like working on some shit in the house, and the co-host told him, he was like, "Oh, really? Well, I got to get back to this project, so we'll talk about this later." And he was like, he never, because he doesn't get on Twitter except for early in the morning to check it when he wakes up. He does his shit then. He never bothers with it. He's like, I'll deal with this later. I got other things and more important shit. Like, okay.
Like I said, to the overall point I was making, like, y'all motherfuckers need to stop doing this. You know, if you adults, like, set a good example for because everybody always talks about kids on the internet. I remember, especially, it's becoming, more and more ubiquitous as I was growing up. People talk about kids' behavior on the internet. And I'm like, you motherfuckers are not setting a good example here. Because you're grown-ass people acting weird as shit on the internet. And any kid's taking their example from you is going to turn out just as bad. So
pretty much.
Watch your fucking cat videos and shut the fuck up.
I don't think the cat videos are in anymore, are they?
Oh God! Don't fucking age me in the middle. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I
have
honestly,
your fucking memes or whatever.
As an actual YouTuber, I really don't know what the fuck's with trends on YouTube. Probably why my channel isn't as big as it could be. I don't fucking
get your meme fix. Watch your Twitch or whatever and shut up. That's all I'm saying. Whatever the kids are doing nowadays, do that shit.
Yeah. I don't know. It is what it is. Like, well, I hope this helps Candance Owens and her. I don't know.
Relevancy.
Yeah, because she pretty much.
I think Don Lemon had a guy's rant about that the other day about these people and having to try and be irrelevant all the time and respond to every fucking thing. Although he was talking about, I think, the royal family shit. So there's that.
Yeah, no, I think it's the relevancy thing. It's just, it's not cool. Not cool at all. But we're trying to be relevant here. So please watch the podcast and share it. Like, subscribe, trend it. Hashtag Black and Cardiac needs your help. Or whatever. I don't know.
Somebody say some shit like, why do you guys debate Candance Owens?
Because it goes back to your point, but y'all not gonna go and listen to that. You're gonna be like, Candance Owens is a lovely person and blah blah blah. And shut up. She ain't shit. Anyway. Last topic. So the whole Asian assault thing has gotten really out of hand, as we've had a tragedy earlier this week in Georgia. A young man assaulted 3 different Asian massage parlors and ended up killing 8 people in total, 6 of them who were of Asian descent.
I think 6 of them were all women too, right?
Yeah, they were all Asian women.
Okay.
And the aftermath has been very, very weird and telling of where we are in society. As, of course, as with any white male mass shooter, everybody wants to delve into like how like he was such a nice kid. He went to church, you know. His mom's torn up about this because he was such a good boy growing up and all of that. Even the police jumped in this time, and with the most horrible fucking like take I've ever heard on a situation like this. When it was asked whether or not they thought this was a hate crime, I think it was the chief of police of the town. I forget the name of the town, the area that it was in Georgia. But his response was, "Well, it just seems like he just had a bad day, like we've all had before. That's all."
He said he had a bad day and he decided to do this.
Yeah. Because I know on my bad days, I don't know about you, but on my bad days, the only thing I ever want to fucking do is to target a specific race and just murder the fuck out of them in multiple locations. And then decide to take a trip to Florida to continue my rampage, which is what he admitted that he was going to do, that he had planned on going to Florida and doing the same thing. Now, his excuse, by the way, his actual excuse is that, well, I was just addicted to these places and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I had to stop the addiction somehow.
Yeah, it was a weird response to the idea that, this was a hate crime. It's like, well, no, it was about race. I think he mentioned having a sex addiction or something like that.
Yeah, that's what he was just, and that's why he had to get rid of these places, because they were fucking fueling his sex addiction.
Which, think about the mind it takes to even think that makes any sense. Like if you had I don't know, I was gonna say like a weed addiction or something. That doesn't mean it makes sense to go into a dispensary and murder everybody. Like your addiction to a thing is not anyone else's problem.
I mean,
but it's ugly all around. It opens up. It ought not be, but it opened up a big discussion on race, on what's the word I'm looking for here? Not just gender, misogyny. I'm not sure. On, like you said, terrorism by white men, and on the police response. Like, it opened up a lot of discussion. Yeah. It's an ugly thing all around, and it just added to the fear a lot of Asian people, I suppose, are having right now.
Yeah, which I don't blame them, because holy shit, what is going on here? Like, why is this? It's just the dumbest thing. I don't understand. And the whole defense just bothers me. I hope that cop gets fired. He's not, but I hope he gets fired. He should get fired. You don't say no shit like that.
It was super dumb. And the first time I heard it, I was kind of willing to be like, all right, that was a weird thing to say to describe somebody. I didn't take it as harshly as everyone else did. I was like, that's really stupid. But I guess then they started looking into this guy, and I think they found some image of him. What was it? With some mug or something that had some like racist connotations to it. Kind of started digging into him, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, okay, maybe he's maybe that wasn't as honest a mistake as one might hope."
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty obvious what was going on. And in any event, even if you remove race from it, it is a hate crime. Because he targeted only women too. That's another thing.
I mean, even if it wasn't a hate crime, it was murder. And not just like a random and moment of passion. He was planning to like go to many locations.
Yeah, take away the woman thing and it's still mass murder. Like you peel off a layer on this fucking onion and it's still a fucking onion. You know.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So yeah.
This idea, this try to address whatever is going on with you through violence against other people is just fucking madness. And I don't understand why that is some people's just first reaction. Hence the sort of domestic terrorism we experience in this country.
We just hate to acknowledge that shit. And I will say this: we hate to acknowledge in most situations. Because I really do recall like there being a lot of fucking, derogatory things being said about the DC assassin back in the day, who happened to be a black man. So
it was already a pretty tense situation given the there's been an uptick of violence against Asian people in general amidst the blaming of the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
I think I vaguely remember even talking about like way before this stuff about, because there was questions as to how much China knew, how much information they were withholding, possibilities of, accidents in their labs they were trying to cover up, or maybe even all that shit. I was like, the unfortunate thing about some countries that are more homogenous like that is that it's less easy for people to differentiate between the government of China and the Chinese people. I guess because you would call them both, not because, but one illustration of that is you call people from China Chinese, and you call people here who are from there or descended from people from there Chinese as well. Like use the same word to describe many different things. Like when you say Chinese, you could be talking about either the race of people, or you could be talking about them as the
social
geopolitical entity,
like the ethnic group of this country. Like, yeah.
Or you could just be talking about them as a country. Like,
yeah.
But sometimes when we say the word Chinese, we do literally mean their government. So that's already not good. And I part of the reason I talked about it back then, I was trying to make the point, like, you cannot blame any random Asian person you see, because let's be honest, a lot of those people don't even know whether these people are Chinese or not. They're just targeting Asian people. But you can't blame even just regular Chinese people for anything their government may or may not have done. That's just totally fucking irrational.
All right. But people are stupid. People are very, very fucking stupid. Like, I really don't get it.
I think the last time we brought it up, you were mentioning that you're holding them accountable for like things that our own government is kind of fucking up. Like if our economy, if you lost your job and everything's going to shit, like, well, that's our fault largely for how we're handling it.
Right, like how you just mentioned, like the whole rumors of how the Chinese government were covering up things. All that stuff, like in the end, it will be important facts to like peel, back and take a look at. But right now, you have a situation that's totally fucked up in your country, largely in part because of the response that the previous administration took towards this. I'm not concerned on whether or not China or the Chinese did this shit. I'm trying to figure out how to get over this shit more than anything.
Sure. Like I said, you could hold their government as a government accountable. That's not the same thing as this weird vigilante justice against any Asian person you see on the fucking streets.
Yeah. And like, I hope this guy, like, he admitted that he did it. So hopefully he'll get prosecuted properly. Hopefully they don't want to spare any mercy on him. Like, well, because he was such a good Christian Republican kid. He didn't harm nobody, as they have been saying. Yeah. Spare me that shit.
As a dirty, filthy atheist, I always kind of laugh when people are like, well, I'm a Christian, as though it's somehow like this inherent moral defense. I'm like, well,
how many mass murders have we seen? It's funny because somebody brought it up this week while I was watching something discussing the situation. Like, hey, remember that good Christian kid who walked into that church in South Carolina? Or was it South Carolina? Yeah, it was South Carolina, and killed the 8 African American people.
I mean, being religious does not inherently make you good or bad. It just means you're religious. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like lots of murder has been done in religion's name. It's I would say it's an irrelevant factor if it's, because sometimes it is actually motivating for killing, but like for the most part, it just doesn't matter. If somebody tells me I'm a Christian, I'm like, all right, and I'm a Virgo, like this is not relevant.
I mean, it could be because, I don't know, Virgos are bad people, aren't they?
Isn't everyone?
No, Virgos in particular, I feel. I really feel like y'all are the worst. I don't know anything about the sign. I only know about my sign, and that is that I'm awesome because I'm a Sagittarius.
I don't know shit because I'm not inclined to shit on, Judeo-Christian values and then all of a sudden be like, but I believe the placement of the stars totally dictates my personality.
I mean, as long as it's positive, I agree. That's all. That's all I'm saying. As long as it's a positive attribute that you're associated with my zodiac sign, 100% with you. And that's pretty much the whole he's a Christian argument, ain't it? Like me sitting here, like in all seriousness, me jesting about how, well, I'm a Sagittarius, and they say Sagittarius are good people, so bam, always trust the Sagittarius. It's the same thing that they do with the but he's a Christian, and
I wonder what religion
a Catholic priest is who explain their behavior.
Yeah, like it's always bothered me growing up that religious people can say that as though it inherently proves
it's
something about their morality.
Yeah, it's a shield against no, you cannot ever say anything disparaging about me because I literally hold the cross in front of me, and like Dracula, you should be repelled from criticizing me.
This how do I put this? I think I mentioned a while back that because the history of racism and Jim Crow and all that stuff between white and black people is so ugly in this country in particular, that tends to dominate a lot of social thought on, race. But yeah, as we saw with, kids in cages, all that shit at the border, it goes to everybody. I think I remember, was it them? If it wasn't them, it was like after 9/11 or something when you started seeing, more and more hate toward people of Middle Eastern descent. Somebody make a joke like, "Oh, it's their turn now." Like some, black person's like, this is kind of inherent idea that any non-white person is kind of up for game. And it's showing it to you with Asian people. I played Cyberpunk 2077, and I put up a few pictures of my character because it has a great photo mode. despite all its horrible bugs, it's got a great photo mode. And I just happened to play like an Asian moment or whatever. And people are like questioning my move on that. And I'm like, I don't care. And I kind of used it as like this dumb little thing to make a point too. I was like, I mean, I just felt like doing it. And like, how many video games even have an Asian protagonist? Yeah, I just felt like the point I was making is like I just kind of wanted to like
that's not
have
like
a different look and do something different,
like Asian culture or something like
right? Because somebody's gonna say like Ghost of Tsushima, and I'd be like,
yeah, that's why I made sure to say that because I thought about that. It's like, yeah, somebody's gonna like point out, well, Ghost of Tsushima, you play as like, well, yeah, because you're in Japan. Like, it would be kind of weird if they put a fucking white motherfucker it as the set, as the Ghost of the Tsushima, like.
Right. So like, I think I just picked her at the time because I was like, yeah, I just gotta feel like shaking it up, and you don't really see too many of these characters as like leads in video games. So fuck it, I just went to my character creator and made that. Like there wasn't much thought into it, but I used it with a friend to make that point. And now I won't get too deep into the social shit, but like I'm loving seeing more and more diversity in entertainment and movies and TVs and all that, television, and all that. But like, it's not that diverse. Like I still don't feel like I see that many Asian people in prominent roles, or even people of like Middle Eastern descent or anything like that. Like there is degrees of racism in this country that are a little harder to spot than than some others, I should say.
Yeah, well, if you like diversity, don't play Outriders because whoa, that character creation shit.
Are most character create? Well, I shouldn't say most of that. Maybe they are getting better now, but I just think of them as like a generic white dude and then like paint. Maybe like slightly different eyes to make an Asian character. They're not really well thought out or good a lot of the times.
Yeah, God, gotta love this country.
I mean, one thing somebody said that I've said too was that it's sad how predictable it is. Because I remember the second, like even before we knew how bad Corona was, like when it started to be kind of a thing, I got worried about it immediately because just culturally, like you'll see Asian people around, wearing the mask before that was a thing everybody did. Like and I remember noticing that just like out on the street, Asian people would wear masks maybe when they were sick or afraid. I don't know what the reasoning was because I was not that health cautious back then. But it seemed like a different cultural thing they were more inclined to do. And I was like, that alone, like that image alone is going to get them some racial targeting. Like that's how early and quick I was thinking about it. That's how fucking predictable it is.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that before I even knew how dangerous Corona would be and how much it would affect the world. So,
I mean, remember the fucking president came out and the first thing he said was the China virus.
The Wuhan flu, I believe, first. And then maybe he decided that was too complicated a name and just called it the China virus.
You can't pronounce Wuhan, probably. It's a hard word for him. And then Kung Flu.
I wouldn't be surprised if they literally just made the calculation that like, all right, we want to be racist and blame it on the Chinese. And Wuhan flu isn't really, doing it for our... Keep it simple. The China virus. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there was actual strategic conversation about doing that.
I'm pretty sure. If not with anybody in his own mind, I'm sure.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, I think that's going to do it. We'd do a longer show, but I killed myself watching Zack Snyder movies.
And he hasn't even gotten to the main course, man.
Oh, God, help me. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to I saw one of my friends was like, "Yeah, that movie fills every bit of its 4 hours." I'm like, "Oh God,
no." I'm trying to. I've been trying to find a spot in the day where I'll just sit there and watch it for 4 hours, completely focused on it. I'm thinking I might give up on that and just watch it as I'm playing video games, because like I can't imagine just sitting there for 4 hours. It feels like I don't want to be a dick, but it feels like a waste of a day if I don't do something else at the same time.
I will be drinking. In fact, I really feel like we should watch it together.
Be up for it.
And just do like a response. Yeah, I'm gonna have to tweet that out and see like how I could do that. Like I can't go through it. Like I already missed Falcon and the Winter Soldier today because I worked a lot, like most of the day, and my plan was to watch, that movie, which I realized I haven't said the name of because I guess I treat it like Voldemort. I wanted to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I've been kind of avoiding the internet because I know the internet likes to spoil shit. So,
yeah. I had a rough week, so I tried not to do anything too stressful. But if anybody out there really likes it, go ahead and tell us why. I'm not saying that's because I want to attack you. I'm curious. Like I was not excited about it when I heard they were doing it. Even back then, I was like, "Why are you doing it?" So, if I watch it and I'm like fucking amazed that I love it, I promise I will tell you guys that I won't be like it's shit, even if I loved it just to be a contrarian. But I'd be very surprised if that's the case.
Yeah. Everybody is trying to convince me, like, but he changed it. And I'm like, no, he didn't. Like, is the story the same? Yeah, but like, no.
Mike was telling me about an interview he apparently did that made me think, like, you need to get this motherfucker away fast. So I'm already got it.
Yeah. I agree. It is what it is. I don't know. Let's stop talking about bad things. But I do definitely. Did you watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier yet?
Not yet.
Okay, good.
I was still recovering from the all-nighter, so I actually wasn't mentally very good this morning.
As I tweeted out, I'm gonna eat my lima beans first, which is that movie, and then I'll eat my ice cream, which is Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I didn't wait because of that, but you're making me think that's a good idea. Maybe I really should just knock it out first and then get back on the happy train. So that's a good point.
Exactly. Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching and listening. We will probably have a more longer, in-depth episode next week because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff to talk about. The world is always crazy and people are always doing dumb shit. So, yeah. Just be safe. Make sure not to fall downstairs. Keep wearing your mask. Get vaccinated for the love of God, please.
Don't be fucking racist.
Yeah, please don't be racist. And don't be attacking Asian people for no damn reason. And if you do, I hope you get your ass whipped like that grandma whipped the person who tried to come at her the other day. Like, just lay your ass out.
Be bullying women like some kind of fucking maniac. Just
Just
sit down. Shut the fuck up.
Not exactly. Be a decent human being for the love of God, please.
I would take subpar. Just
you be decent. Like that's all we're asking for. The minimum. Be decent.
You're asking for a lot.
I guess.
From this match. I'll be more positive. You guys can do it. You can be decent, probably.
At least aspire.
I ended on a dark note, but you know what? I'm taking a cue out of a certain director's book, and I'm making it dark. Fuck you.
The king of sepia tone. Anyway, we will see you next time on the Reason Reborn. Peace.